In the 8th episode of Your Friends and Neighbors, we witness a tense confrontation between Felix and an unnamed visitor that culminates in Felix's ominous parting words, "Say hi to your mother." This seemingly innocuous farewell takes on sinister undertones within the context of their interaction, leaving viewers to wonder about its true meaning and the identity of Felix's mysterious visitor. To fully understand the weight of this statement, we need to carefully examine the entire exchange and the power dynamics at play. The scene begins with Felix casually watching a soccer match, commenting that Ecuador is kicking our ass when someone approaches him. This initial interaction gives us our first clue about their relationship. Felix doesn't seem surprised by the visitor's presence, suggesting they know each other well enough for unannounced meetings to be relatively normal. The visitor gets straight to business, saying, "That's everything Chivo owes you," while handing over money. This immediately establishes that the visitor is acting as an intermediary for someone named Chivo, who has financial obligations to Felix. Felix takes his time examining the payment, a power move that establishes his dominant position in this exchange. His delayed response of "that's good" carries a dismissive tone, implying that while he accepts the money, he's doing so with a sense of entitlement rather than gratitude. His follow-up comment, "I didn't know housekeeping paid so well," provides additional context. This passive-aggressive remark suggests that Chivo works in housekeeping, a relatively low-paying profession that wouldn't normally generate enough income to repay whatever significant debt is being settled. The implication is clear. Felix believes the money comes from questionable sources, and he's letting the visitor know he's aware of this. Rather than being intimidated, the visitor responds with unexpected confidence. "I could put you on if you want." This retort contains both a defense of Chivo's profession and a subtle challenge to Felix's assumed superiority. It suggests the visitor has some authority in Chivo's workplace and is offering Felix a job, presumably as a housekeeper, in a move that would invert their current power dynamic. This bold response indicates that the visitor isn't completely subordinate to Felix despite acting as Chivo's messenger. After an awkward pause, the visitor attempts to conclude the transaction by asking, "We good?" Felix's response, "Till next time," reveals his expectation that this arrangement will continue indefinitely. The visitor, however, has different plans, stating firmly, "No next time. Chivo doesn't work for you anymore." This declaration dramatically shifts the interaction from a routine payment to a declaration of independence. It reveals that Chivo's relationship with Felix extends beyond simple debt. Chivo has been working for Felix in some capacity, and now that arrangement is ending. Felix's reaction shows just how unexpected and unwelcome this news is. "You hand me a bag of money, and you think you can talk to me like that?" His indignation suggests he views the payment not just as settling a debt, but as purchasing continued submission. The visitor's attempt to defuse the situation with "please, Felix," only provokes a more explicit power play from Felix. "I change your diapers." This shocking statement completely transforms our understanding of their relationship. Felix isn't just a creditor or employer. He has known the visitor since infancy, suggesting a family connection or long-standing relationship that spans decades. Felix follows this revelation with an explicit threat. "Be very careful how you talk to me." The visitor's response, "This is me being careful," indicates they're fully aware of Felix's capacity for retaliation, but are standing their ground nonetheless. This exchange establishes high stakes for both parties. The visitor is risking Felix's anger to secure Chivo's freedom from whatever arrangement has bound them together. It's in this context that Felix delivers his parting line, "Say hi to your mother." On the surface, this could be read as a polite farewell, a conventional pleasantry between people who share social connections. But within the charged atmosphere of their confrontation, it carries much darker implications. By invoking the visitor's mother, Felix is signaling several things simultaneously. First, he's reminding the visitor that he has connections to their family beyond just them. He knows their mother, has access to her, and potentially has influence over her well-being. This extends the scope of his power beyond the immediate relationship to include the visitor's loved ones. Second, the casual mention of the mother after such a tense exchange serves as a veiled threat. Felix is essentially saying, "I know how to reach your family," implying potential consequences could extend beyond the visitor to include their relatives. It's a reminder that defying Felix might put others at risk. Third, the reference to the visitor's mother reinforces the history Felix has already established with his "change your diapers" comment. He's known this family for decades, across generations. This long-standing connection gives his words added weight. He's not just some business associate who can be easily dismissed, but someone deeply embedded in their family history. Fourth, by ending with this seemingly cordial remark, Felix maintains a veneer of civility that makes his threat all the more unsettling. He doesn't need to explicitly state what might happen if the visitor and Chivo continue to defy him. The mention of the mother is enough to convey potential consequences while maintaining plausible deniability. So who exactly is this visitor Felix is addressing? While the episode doesn't explicitly identify them, we can piece together several key details from their interaction. The visitor is clearly someone younger than Felix, someone whose diapers Felix changed, suggesting an age gap of at least a generation. They have a direct connection to Chivo, serving as their representative and advocate. They have enough authority to declare that Chivo doesn't work for you anymore, indicating they have agency in Chivo's employment or activities. They also have a mother whom Felix knows well enough to casually reference. The most likely possibility is that the visitor is either Chivo's child or a younger relative, perhaps a niece, nephew, or cousin. The reference to housekeeping suggests Chivo works in that profession, possibly for a hotel, cleaning service, or private employer. The visitor may have a supervisory or managerial role in the same industry, explaining their comment about being able to put Felix on if he wants a job. The dynamics between Felix, the visitor, and the unseen Chivo reveal a complex web of power, obligation, and resistance. Felix appears to have leveraged his long-standing connection to the visitor's family to establish some form of control over Chivo, perhaps involving loans, illegal activities, or exploitative labor arrangements. The visitor's attempt to break this cycle of control by delivering the final payment and declaring an end to their arrangement represents a significant act of defiance against someone who clearly wields considerable influence. Felix's "say hi to your mother" serves as his final attempt to maintain psychological dominance, even as he loses practical control over Chivo. It's his way of saying, "This isn't over," without explicitly making threats. The implied intimidation through family connections is particularly insidious because it extends the conflict beyond the individuals directly involved to include innocent relatives. This interaction perfectly embodies the episode's title question: when did we become these people? Felix has become someone who uses personal history and family connections as weapons of control. The visitor has become someone brave enough to stand up to this manipulation despite potential consequences. And Chivo, though unseen, has apparently transformed from someone under Felix's thumb to someone seeking independence. None of these transformations happened overnight. They represent gradual evolutions of character and relationship that have culminated in this confrontation. The scene leaves us with numerous questions about Felix's role in the broader community. His casual mention of Ecuador losing a soccer game suggests he may share cultural connections with Chivo and the visitor, possibly indicating an immigrant community where Felix has established himself as a power broker or authority figure. His apparent control over Chivo's employment points to influence in local businesses or underground economies. The deference he expects suggests he's accustomed to being treated with respect or fear by those around him. As the episode progresses, this interaction likely serves as a subplot that parallels the main character's journeys of self-discovery and transformation. Just as Felix must confront who he's become, someone who intimidates and controls others through manipulation of shared history. Other characters are similarly examining how they've changed and whether those changes align with their values and aspirations. The "say hi to your mother" line encapsulates the episode's broader exploration of how the past shapes present relationships. Felix weaponizes history and family connections to maintain control. The visitor must overcome the weight of this shared past to establish boundaries and independence. This dynamic likely resonates with the main character's struggles to break free from patterns and expectations established in their own histories. By the end of the episode, Felix's parting words hang ominously in the air, their full implications yet to be revealed. Will he follow through on his implied threat? Will there be consequences for the visitor or their mother? Has Chivo truly escaped whatever arrangement bound him to Felix? These unresolved tensions create narrative momentum that propels the episode forward, making us eager to see how these power dynamics will continue to unfold. What makes this brief interaction so compelling is how efficiently it establishes character, relationship, and conflict through subtext rather than explicit explanation. We learn everything we need to know about Felix's manipulative nature, the visitor's courageous defiance, and Chivo's unseen struggle for independence through the nuances of their exchange rather than through exposition. Felix's final line, "Say hi to your mother," serves as the perfect culmination of this subtext-rich scene, conveying volumes of meaning through four seemingly simple words. In the broader context of your friends and neighbors, this interaction adds depth to the show's exploration of how people evolve and how those evolutions affect their relationships. It suggests that transformation isn't always positive. Sometimes we become people who use our history with others as leverage rather than connection. It also shows how breaking free from unhealthy dynamics requires courage and risks, particularly when those dynamics are reinforced by long-standing personal history. The scene leaves us questioning not just what Felix meant by his parting words, but what they reveal about who he's become and the community he influences. His casual invocation of the visitor's mother as a pressure point suggests someone who views relationships as potential weapons, a stark contrast to the more authentic connections the show's main characters are presumably seeking to develop or restore. This juxtaposition enriches the episode's thematic exploration of identity and transformation, reminding us that becoming these people can represent either growth or corruption depending on the choices we make along the way.